Dear ones, I am Archangel Michael. Today we start another month within your calendar. The parties are apparently over, now it's time to resume the journey, count our losses and move on. What I say here is not so that anyone feels sadness, nor is it judgmental and self-condemning. What's done is done, crying now is no use, it's about lifting your head and moving forward. My brothers, the world seems to be very strange recently, everything seems to be out of place, everything seems to be extremely agitated, extremely exacerbated. What do I have to say to you? Nothing new, I have nothing new to say, just what I have always said. Everything that is happening on your planet, in your lives is a consequence of actions. Many understand that when we say, you reap what you sow. This phrase is timeless. Why timeless? Because there is no set time for the harvest, it depends a lot on how the sowing was done and the path of each soul. If we are going to talk here in the most common sense of the word, about planting a seed and it germinating and bearing fruit, this act also does not have a defined time. Each harvest can take days, months, years. How long does a large fruit tree take to expose its fruit? So there is no set time for harvest, each sowing has a different harvest. So many of you are wondering, what do I mean by this phrase? That many times, you commit acts that deviate from the guideline of our Father or Mother God, and many think that the harvest is soon to follow. Yes, there are cases in which the harvest is very quick, in which the result of that bad step is almost instantaneous, but there are many cases that take years, and you completely forget. And then they wonder, or rather, they look at the sky and ask God why they are going through that. What is sowing? Normally, in the vast majority of cases, the sowing comes from acts, which you often think are inconsequential acts. You think that the rules are to be circumvented, that they won't hurt anyone if you don't follow them. Ah, no one is watching, no one will even know what I did. Indeed, many times you do the wrong things and no one knows, but you forget that you are watched all the time, not by God, by the universe, by what is around you, there are energetic eyes on you all the time. So that energy that you released there, which was not positive energy, will be added to the same energy that other people also produced, and this will be accumulated. One day when that egregore, that energy, becomes extremely large, it causes an imbalance in the universe and then returns, exactly to whoever generated it. Because every little piece of that egregore has an owner, and its owners receive exactly the consequence of what they did. When many of you ask yourselves, why am I going through this? Don't just think about the previous day, the previous month, stop and think about how you contributed to that, how you were part of the catalysts that caused that. But do you know what the big problem is? It's just that you don't like to take blame. Human beings take great pleasure in pointing the finger at others, often even blaming them for things they didn't do. But for you, that's great, because you won't bear the blame, he will, and until he proves that he wasn't to blame, you are living fully, peacefully. And you think this will never come back? Do you think this will go unpunished in the universe? I repeat again, the return is not a punishment, as you like to say and was proclaimed by your religions, it is just the return of what you did, nothing else. Nobody is punishing you, if anyone is actually punishing you it is you, because it was you who generated that event, and one day it returns with the same intensity or even greater. So my brothers, this lesson is one of the most difficult that you have to learn, recognizing your own mistakes, recognizing how much you are the cause of what is happening. I have said here several times that cleverness often brings immeasurable returns. So don't think that you are, as you usually say, knowledgeable, and do things without anyone noticing. Yes, your next door neighbor may not even notice, but the universe does. Because that sowing is not just about attitudes, it also has feelings. Or have you forgotten that thoughts and words also feed the egregores? So that thought of always trying to get along may work for a while, but one day it comes back, showing you that what you tried to do was wrong. You will have your harvest. My brothers, I have said this here many times, don't blame us for the bad things that happen in your lives. Many think that we are obliged to protect them at all times, and that we have to prevent everything bad that can happen in their lives. The vast majority think this way, that since we are beings of light and protect you, we have an obligation to prevent any suffering, any bad thing from happening in your lives. And then when it happens, who do you blaspheme against? Against us, against God the Father or Mother, because it was us, because we did not protect you. So many may be wondering, why am I saying this again? My brothers, listen to your news and you will understand. Gaia is not nervous, Gaia is not looking to destroy anyone, you are reaping what you sowed, and you are sending it out all the time. As long as you emanate fear against nature, the more nature will act against you, because the universe returns exactly what you are afraid of. My brothers, things are accelerating, we can say that things are intensifying, because the lessons have not been learned. Lessons come, you go through them, you complain for a while and then you forget, you make the same mistakes again. So more and more everything is accelerating, everything is intensifying, then the results will always be heavier, they will always be more frightening. It is not Gaia that is causing this, just those egregores that you created for so many years are emptying themselves. In what way? Returning to you the consequences of what you did. Everything is accelerated. So everything happens with greater power. If you have an open tap filling the bucket with a trickle of water, it will take a while. If you accelerate that trickle of water, that bucket will fill much faster. So there's the reason why everything is extremely strange. Things that haven't happened for decades are happening again. Because everything is accelerated, because the lessons, you no longer have time to spend years and years to learn a lesson. You are being thrown against the wall in a very violent way, so that you wake up, and understand where the error is, understand where you have to change, understand what you have to do to improve what is around you, what you have to make the right decisions for each other. When I talk about government officials here, many understand that I take sides with AORB. I only tell the truth. If you are bothered, it is because the truth bothered you. And then, as I said here a while ago, you forget that I'm the one speaking, you think it's the plumber who is putting forward her political ideas. Because what was said bothered you deep down in your heart. And then you have to react, and at that point you forget that it's me, she accuses, of course. Are you going to fight me? Of course not. Are you going to question me? Of course not. So you throw your anger at your inability to choose a good ruler at her. I have said this here and I will repeat it as many times as necessary. You don't know how to choose your rulers. You do not know. All over the planet, you don't know how to choose your rulers. You only think about yourself, about what is good for you, not about the whole. So if they promise something that's good for you, that's perfect, you vote for them. So many things that you are receiving back are the result of your bad choices, the result of poorly thought out choices that you made from your rulers. I want someone to point out to me that I'm wrong in what I'm saying. Of course, many will say, that I am, that I continue to be a politician. No, I am not a politician. You forget that I see the truth a little higher, because I know what is going on in the hearts of each one of you. So a lot of things are the result of individualism, of you thinking only about yourself, about having one good thing for yourself, the rest doesn't matter, everyone who thinks of themselves. Well, so as long as you think this way, there is the result you are seeing. Each one receives the lesson they have to receive, in the intensity they have to receive. I've said it before, everyone is in the right place at the right time, no one is in the wrong place at the wrong time. You made choices, bear the consequences. Don't keep blaming Gaia, because Gaia is doing this. No, Gaia is not doing anything. Gaia is internally preparing for the big moment. She's just letting things happen, the lessons come back to each of you, just that. She's not doing anything. So you continue to emanate fear of what could happen, and it actually happens. Many of you still don't believe in this maxim, even those who read the letters of Christ still insist on not understanding it. Because in the letters Sananda is very clear, Sananda is very explicit when he talks about the law of action and reaction. But you continue to think that this is all nonsense, that it's always someone else's fault, and that it's always the fault of above. It doesn't matter who it's from above. Then you turn to above and ask, why am I going through this? Interesting, very interesting, this way you see things, you are never to blame for anything, it's always the other person's fault. I'm going to ask a question here and I want you to answer honestly. Have any of you, at any point in your life, ever blamed anyone for something you did? I want you to ask yourselves this question, because whoever answers yes, I really don't know what you are doing on the surface of the planet. You should be holy, you should be in heaven, as you say. So I can say that at some point in your lives, you did something wrong and let someone else take over, or pointed out someone else as the culprit. All of you. Because it is in the nature of human beings not to admit that they are guilty, not to accept the guilt, the error, of what they did. Accepting that you made a mistake for many is shameful, but in the eyes of our Father or Mother God it is a blessing. Because when you own up to a mistake and admit that you made it, at that moment you have learned your lesson. And I'm sure, most of the time, you will now think twice before blaming someone. So do that internal reflection, how many times have you blamed the other for mistakes you made? It's easy to blame the other, it's easy to occupy the high, this one is guilty of everything, our Father or Mother God is guilty of everything, He is the one who punishes you, isn't that so? So He is to blame. Look what an interesting thing, what a good thing, blaming Alto. Will He come down to earth to say that He is not to blame? Of course. So you always blame Him. But everything you did was passed on to the universe, and the universe will eventually give it back. And then you will say that our Father or Mother God was the one to blame, who punished you. It's my brothers, unfortunately, I would like to only say good things here every day, but I need to teach you to become better human beings every day. Because it is in these little things that you evolve, that you are preparing. It's like I've been saying in relation to tasks. Tasks are not daily, tasks are to be done whenever you remember, making them a habit. So accepting your mistakes, never blaming others, is a habit that you have to learn, whatever the consequence of what you did. You made a mistake, so you have to accept your mistakes. It's not about making mistakes and blaming someone else, because then you make mistakes twice, and then the bill comes higher. My brothers, being human is not easy, especially in the environment in which you live in the third dimension, where these feelings of cleverness, of superiority, are always around you. Because it taught you that those who admit mistakes are inferior, are stupid, and are often even attacked, everyone points fingers for what you did. Yes, you might get through it, but at least you'll know for sure that you did the right thing, and that's a very good thing for you. Because this pain you feel, from the mockery, from the humiliation, will make you think several times before making a mistake again. Now those who pointed fingers at you, wait for the answer, because no one can point the finger at anyone. As you often say, you all have a glass roof, and glass so thin that a feather could break it. So how to point the finger at someone else? You are perfect? Don't you make mistakes? Maybe one day you won't be able to do exactly what he did? So don't judge, don't condemn, you are not a judge. So my brothers, I already said this a few days ago, be supportive but don't suffer the suffering of others. Everyone has their own path, everyone made their own choices. Play your role by helping, not suffering for them. Take care of your path, take care of your walk. Because you could be releasing the same things into the universe that the one you are suffering for released. So take something from his example for your life, analyze what is happening to him, if you also do not do the same thing, instead of suffering for it. I've already said it and I'll say it again, be supportive, help those in need. But do not suffer for them. Because everyone has a story, everyone has a journey, you cannot judge anyone by their suffering. If they are suffering, some lesson they have to learn, some harvest they have to make. So why suffer their suffering? Everyone has to look at their own path, everyone has to look at their own free will, to make the right choices. To make your journey more and more enlightened, to make your journey more and more free, so that the returns you have for your life are good returns, of joy, of happiness, and not suffering, for the wrong choices you made. This week, we will have our live meeting, on Wednesday, at the same time, 9 p.m. This time I will ask each of you to have just one white candle. It's easy for everyone, I'm not going to ask for a blue candle, a white candle. What I need is the fire element, this is what I need. If you can have a plate, it would be interesting for you to buy it, whoever can, whoever can't, make it with a dish you have at home. If you could buy a transparent or white plate, and just leave it for the rituals with me, that would be great. If you can't buy it, there's no difference, make it with a dish you have at home, as long as it's not a dark dish, it's a light dish so that the candle light illuminates it and doesn't bring darkness. So that's all you need to have for Wednesday, a transparent or white plate, and a common white candle, not those candles that last for several days, an ordinary white candle. And I'm going to go ahead, because otherwise there will be a barrage of questions, if the candle makes any smudges, throw it in the trash, because this candle will be for cleaning, so everything that will be in that sludge is to be thrown away. So you are already warned. I am Archangel Michael. I am here. Always ready to show you everything that is necessary for you to grow and evolve.